The Sisters of Dorley, written by Alyson Greaves, read by Robin Nolan. Chapter 3, Death by Chocolate. 2019, October 13th, Sunday. It gets easier every day. She won't claim it's not hard, being out in the world as a girl, as a woman, but it's 1,000 times better than what she used to be. She used to be so angry. She muses as she drums the first two fingers of her right hand against the bench, used to smoke, and right now she's missing it more than anything else she's had to give up. She makes a fist, calms herself, and watches the horizon. The Royal College of St. Armsworth sits at the base of Armsworth Hill, a shallow bump in the landscape, only worthy of a proper name because the surrounding countryside is so persistently flat, and Christine Hale sits at the very top, on a bench dedicated to someone whose name has long since rubbed off, waiting for night to fall. She has a marvelous view of the campus, but it's difficult for her to appreciate it properly. Beware decisions made in haste, one of her father's sayings, some aphorism that impressed the other rich assholes at his firm more than it ever had her. Back home, Christine usually avoided having it or any of his other little wisdoms lobbed in her direction by never making any discernible decisions at all if she could help it, so he generally settled for muttering it at the morning newspaper, or her mother. If he could see her now, the old bastard would probably have another heart attack. Absently, she clicks her left wrist in remembrance of him. It still hurts sometimes. But the man had a point, and Christine hates him even more for it. She made a rash choice, didn't think it through, and now she might have made everything worse. She would kill for a cigarette. Her phone screen lights up. It's Indira, her sister, her sponsor. God, won't she ever be disappointed if she finds out what Christine did last night. Christine? You know that's not my name. You picked my name. Wow, you're in a mood. Just, Christine says, drawing out the sentence while she thinks of a plausible reason for her equilibrium to be so shot. Memories. Sweetheart, you're not backsliding, are you? No, God, absolutely not. Even the thought of it is enough to cause Christine to shudder. Do you want me to come back home and look after you? It'll be fine, really. I'm just thinking about Dad again, and I thought you were in London this weekend. You know I'd come back for you. You're sweet. Always. So, Christine says, standing up from the bench and stretching. Not that it's not lovely to hear from you, but... Why did I call? Aunt B texted. There's a new boy. Thought I'd warn you. Oh, who brought him in? Pippa. Christine can't help but feel sorry for him. She's not setting him up for an easy ride, but maneuvering the drunk boy into the bushes outside Pippa Green's window, screaming her best, most practiced horror movie scream and running away, well... It had been the only idea she'd had that didn't either confirm all of his suspicions right off the bat, or leave him in a position to spill all their secrets anyway, next time he got drunk. She could have gone straight to Aunt B, but there are too many ways for that to go spectacularly wrong for poor Stefan, so she struck that option off her list almost immediately. Better he only wishes he was dead, right? It was God's own luck that it was Christine he ran into last night. He only got a few incriminating words out before she kissed him in a desperate attempt to shut him up, but in that time he revealed way more knowledge about Dorley Hall than any outsider is supposed to have. Clearly, she needs to have a talk with Aunt B about OPSEC. Poor lad, Christine says. Hey, Pippa's probably raring to go. I repeat myself, poor lad. He'll be right as rain at no time. Do you remember what you were like when you joined us? Please, Dira, I thought we agreed Memory Lane was a bad place. For you. Not me. Sun's going down. Time to move. Look, Dira, I've got to go. Okay, sweetheart, you sure you're okay? I'm sure. And you've eaten. Yes, she hasn't, but if there's one thing Dorley Hall isn't short of, it's leftovers to heat up. She'll take something up to her room later. Okay, kiss, kiss. Christine, feeling conspicuous as always, says, kiss, but she doesn't make the face to go with it. It's hard not to feel like she's always being watched. An inevitable side effect, Indira had told her. It'll go away eventually, or she'll get used to it. She slips her phone into a bag and starts walking down the shallow stone steps down the hill. Saints, as a campus, is a slapdash mixture of styles, ranging from the very old, the entrance to the student union bar looks like a village pub because that's what it once was, to turn of the millennium complex by the lake, An obnoxiously new computer science building, which Christine gives a wide berth. More bad memories. Dorley Hall isn't another character even with the oldest buildings, having been here before Saints was Saints. It's a red brick monstrosity, crawling with vines and wearing its origin as a private hospital on its sleeve. It looks, quite frankly, haunted, and it isn't actually on the campus proper, being set out at the edge of the grounds, where the grassy scrubland meets dense woods, bracketed from the rest of the university by a thick semicircle of empty land which mysteriously has never been earmarked for development. It's home, and it looms, reassuringly. Two girls from the upper floors are vaping on the steps up to the main entrance, so when Christine lets herself into the ground floor, she smells like strawberry bubblegum. There's no one inside except Vicky Robinson, eating an omelette at the kitchen table. She smiles when she sees Christine, and surreptitiously drops the paper bag that had been sitting on the table in front of her into her lap. "I didn't see anything," Christine says. Vicky, through a mouthful of omelette, indicates gratitude, and Christine leaves her to her dinner, heading through the dining hall and through the locked door to the floor below. The security room's empty. Not surprising for this time of the night, this early in the program. Everyone will be working on their assignments or just relaxing somewhere, with a laptop open if they have to monitor their charges. Christine ducks in and flicks through the screens and finds the boy. Good, he's sitting perfectly still. Dozing, probably. She scrubs through the footage and identifies a suitable start point and taps the information onto her phone. It's the work of another second to have her phone talk to the laptop, which is up in her room and already connected to the network, and loop the signal. She loops the video for the connecting corridor and the stairs down and disconnects the camera feeds for good measure. Her phone goes through the biometrics on the door to the basement and doesn't leave any trace of her in the logs. You can take the boy out of the hacker, but you can't take the hacker out of the girl, no matter how many linguistics lectures she attends. "Where am I?" Stefan demands. The girl, Christine, looks almost disappointed. "Where do you think?" She's wearing a light hoodie, unzipped over a pale blue t-shirt, dark grey leggings, and a pair of running shoes. Appallingly casual and comfortable looking compared to Stefan's scratchy smock, like she's popped in to see the prisoner after a nice healthy jog. Dorley Hall. Bingo, you're under it, specifically. Basement 2. When all this was a hospital, she waves her hand around her, causing the light from her phone to flicker eerily on her face. This place was the morgue, or the laundry, I'm not sure. "Did you bring me here?" She looks uncomfortable. "Yes and no. It's complicated." "Well then, I know, I'm working up to it." Stefan sits back from his squat, crosses his legs in front of him, and rests his chin on his tented hands. "I'm not going anywhere." Look, strangely nervous for a kidnapper. "When you said to me last night that you know about Dorley Hall, what exactly do you know?" "Ah, that was you on the intercom this morning." "Yes, please answer the question. It's important." Stefan considers stonewalling her. She's not the one on the wrong side of a cell door, and he's reconsidering his earlier resolve to cooperate. But after a moment's thought, he decides against it. He starts outlining his theory, and Christine's increasing and obvious disbelief confirms to him that yes, he's got entirely the wrong read on things. Feeling foolish, he trails off. "No, please," Christine says urgently. "Finish. I need to know everything." Stefan shrugs. "I mean, that's more or less it. I thought this place was a place that helps trans people get away from unsupportive or outright aggressive family and maybe helps out with transition stuff, but it's not, is it? I'm just an idiot. Why were you looking so hard at Dorley in the first place?" "A friend disappeared," he says quickly. Best that she doesn't get the opportunity to consider why else an apparent man would look so hard for transition services. My friend's older brother, he was kind of like an older brother to me too. They lived across the road from us and we were always in each other's lives. He smiles, involuntarily, remembering Mark as he used to be. When he came here to Saints, he went missing one night. No leads, just gone. But then, a year earlier, I saw him. At least I thought it was him. She looked exactly like what he would look like if he was a girl, and I thought maybe he was a girl all along? Maybe the reason he was so unhappy the last year I knew him was that he wasn't a he. God, I even started thinking of her as a girl, but I was fooling myself because he's dead, isn't he? And she was just some girl that looked a bit like him. He blinks rapidly. Whatever this place really is, he's certain he doesn't want to cry here. Shit, Christine says and flops back on her bottom, unintentionally mimicking Stefan. Shit. I'm an idiot, Stefan Riley. He flinches. Don't call me that, he says, before he can stop himself. Why not? I don't like it. Whatever. Look, if you promise not to tell anyone what you just told me ever, then I can get you out of here. Why? How? Why is because the freedom and lives of a hell of a lot of people, including me and people I care about, rely on no one ever knowing what you know. And how is because I put you here in a roundabout way so I can get you out again. What I know. I was right? It's real? Christine looks pained. Yes and no. Look, do you agree or not? It's real. It's fucking real. Yes and no could mean anything, but if any part of it was true, that means Melissa, might still be alive. And it means Stefan right now has to face up to his gender fast, whatever it may be, before all this slips away from him and before Christine gets him out. But he can barely make his mouth move. He's never told anyone before, hardly admitted it to himself, and he's always been terrified if he tells someone, if he actually comes out, if he actually tries to transition and it turns out he's wrong, if it was all just a fantasy, he's not trans after all, and that it was just a delusion by an ugly idiot boy who hates his life and can't take responsibility for it, then he'll have nothing left to live for. It's the fear that eats him every night. It's the fear that's taken him to 21 without seriously considering transition as something he could do. A fear that's gifted him with nothing but an empty life, a cold drafty room in a house he hates, and less than 16 pounds in his bank account. Maybe it's time to abandon it. Is it real? He tries again. She narrows her eyes. What is up with you? He has to know about Mark/Melissa. Are you a trans woman? It comes out blunter than he means, but he's overtaken by an urgency he hasn't known since he first saw Melissa years ago. Christine looks at him for a long time, thinking. No. Sort of. Not really. It's complicated. Stop saying that. She's frozen. He wants to reach through the glass and poke her. Impossible. He waves at her instead, and she nods her head aggressively. I know, she says. I'm trying to decide how to say it. I'm just not exactly fond of just coming out like... Oh, shit. Her phone is vibrating incessantly, and she swipes it off the ground. I have to go, she says. What? Now? Why? Someone's coming, and I'm not supposed to be here. Can you survive one more day down here? I guess. Nothing's actually happened to me yet. Yeah, well, it might. Christine stands and bounces on the soles of her feet, full of nervous energy. Listen, you can't say anything to anyone about me, and that includes meeting me at the party or what you know about this place. You have to act like you don't know anything, and I'm sorry, but people here will think you're a horrible person. What? Just go along with it, please. I can fix it all tomorrow. Shit. Christine ducks into the storeroom with only seconds to spare and hurriedly taps through her homegrown app, re-enabling the cameras and cancelling the looping video. She brings up the direct feed and watches Pippa Green take the stairs down at a jog and march past Christine's hiding spot without a glance. Breathe out. A bit of luck. If all this had happened a week ago when that Aaron kid was still in cell 2, she'd never have been able to sneak around like this. As she stands, she almost knocks something off a shelf with her elbow, something so ancient and crusted over she can't even tell what it was. An empty bottle of bleach, maybe? Carefully, she puts it back and looks around the room properly for the first time. God, it hasn't been cleaned in... Are those bed sheets? Maybe this floor used to be the laundry after all. A shame, more symbolic weight to repurposing a morgue. With Pippa in place and berating poor Stefan, Christine quickly sets the stair cameras to loop for the next 30 seconds and legs it as quietly as she knows how. Vicky is still in the kitchen, and this time her guilty expression has nothing to do with the paper bag in her lap and everything to do with a slice of chocolate cake on the table in front of her. Hi again, she says, grinning. There's icing on her lower lip, and Christine could just reach out and rub it off. She takes a moment to compose herself. Most girls who graduate from Dorley program are attractive, but Vicky is something else. Christine carefully and firmly redirects her intense jealousy of Vicky's girlfriend to something much more acceptable. Where did you get that cake? It looks amazing. I know, right? Vicky says, slicing off a piece and holding it up. It looks like something off a baking show. 4 perfect layers in 2 shades of deep brown clad in icing. It's death by chocolate. One of the second years baked it. How appropriate, Christine laughs. That's not as feminine as you're thinking. Aunt B was delighted when she heard, less pleased when she saw how this girl bakes. Vicky mimes someone engaging violently with a bowl of cake batter. It's like a rugby tackle on the kitchen table. Aunt B, current custodian of Dorley Hall, is a firm believer in the healing power of femininity and applies that to her charges at every opportunity. Christine would have scoffed once upon a time, but she's had to admit that for a certain subset of people, it does have beneficial qualities. Perhaps not when taken quite to Aunt B's preferred extreme, though. She winces. Memories. The program can be tough. Shit, the program. Stefan bloody Riley's downstairs being softened up by Pippa right now. And Christine put him there. She shouldn't have panicked and done that to him, but what choice did she have? He came waltzing into her life just as she's finally starting to actually like herself, drunkenly babbling about things no one is supposed to know and apparently unintentionally threatening not just her future, but that of everyone she loves. What else could she have done? I don't know, talk to him like a normal person? Shut up, Christine, she whispers to herself. Nothing, Vic. You're okay? Vicky says, reaching out and taking Christine's hand. It's not hard to admire Vicky, who entered the program the same week as Christine but graduated in an almost unprecedented 2 years. It was like she understood from the first moment what was being asked of her and set out to achieve it as quickly and as completely as possible. Her drive, her determination, her skill, her frosting flaked lower lip, they're all beyond impressive, and yet she's unfailingly kind, straightforward, and helpful. She still hangs around Dorley, but it's because she still has friends here, and because she can steal estrogen for her girlfriend. Christine gave her the code for the secure medicine locker, possibly the first thing she ever did in her life that she can actually be proud of. She's pretty sure Vicky pretends to get it online. I'm really fine, Christine says. Long day. Hey, how's Lorna? She's unable to stop herself from smiling as Vicky launches into a delighted ramble. Her love for her girlfriend is infectious. She finally agreed to sing in front of me, and goodness, Tina, she's so talented. She hates her voice, but she works so hard on it, and she sounds so good, and I wish I could just put her inside my head so she could see what I see and hear what I hear, and then she'd know she's the most wonderful girl in the world, with the sweetest voice. And we went shopping, and I know that I shouldn't, but I used some of my stipend to get some things from her, and, well, it's a cliche, but dress goes spinny. Vicky laughs and twirls a finger in the air. She looks so beautiful and happy, I had to kiss her right there in the changing room. Then we had lunch at this pub on the other side of town. These two guys came up and hitting on us, and we got to do that thing, you know, where you hold hands across the table and you're like, she switches from her usual bubbly voice to a husky drawl that does things to Christine's hindbrain. Actually, we're together. God, I could have died laughing. Oh, and we went through one of our brain and behavior notes together, and she's so smart, Tina. I actually can't bear it. She asks after you, you know? Wants to know if you ever got around to playing Bloodborne. I said you don't even have an Xbox, PlayStation, Christine whispers through her grin. But maybe you can come over and play on hers? Vicky phrases it like it's a question, and Christine nods, playing along. She's had this long-standing invite, and truthfully, she'd love to drop into the house Vicky and Lorna share with 2 other girls. Another measure of Vicky's extraordinary prowess. Christine still feels uncomfortable away from Dorley and can't imagine living with, let alone dating, anyone who doesn't know about what happens here, and, among other things, finally get to see this vacuous rom Lorna's been texting her about. But if what she did to Stefan ever gets out, she'll be surprised if she leaves Dorley before 2025. We've got the place looking really nice now, and it would be so lovely if you visited. Maybe bring Indira and Paige and Abby along? I've told her so much about them, and she so wants to meet them. I'd love to, Christine says. Vicky blushes. God, I really came out and said all that, didn't I? She pops the last bite of cake into her mouth and chews thoughtfully. You know, she adds in a conspiratorial whisper, I think there might be brandy in this cake. They're giving second years alcohol now? I know, it doesn't seem fair, does it? Takes several more minutes for Christine to disentangle herself from Vicky's boundless enthusiasm, but she can't deny she needed the pick-me-up. Up on the second floor, where all the third-year program girls are, she bypasses the biometric on the dorm room door out of convenience rather than just subterfuge. She's got a plate of reheated curry in her left hand and a chocolate cake in her right, and it's just easier to speak a command to her phone than find a thumb. Inside, she climbs into the bed and arranges the tools in front of her. Curry, chocolate cake, huge water bottle. Aunt B insists that all second years drink 8 glasses of water every day for their skin, and it's a habit that's stuck. Phone, laptop, nightly pills. She necks her estrogen and progesterone with a half-liter of water and starts on the curry as she loads the security feeds on her laptop. She's not a sponsor. She's not really supposed to be able to do this. It's lucky for Aunt B she believes in this place, or she could send a whole lot of people to prison. Starting with me, Christine thinks, as she calls up the view of the boy whose kidnapping she's technically an accessory to. Stephen Riley. She doesn't know exactly what to make of him anymore. At the party, he seemed like a nice guy, a bit quiet and a bit shy, willing to let her take the lead in the conversation. He didn't undress her with his eyes, as he even appeared through the haze of alcohol and weed to be genuinely interested in what she said. In all, the kind of man she felt the least uncomfortable to be around. Perhaps even the kind of man she might have taken an interest in independently had Paige not encouraged her to talk to him. Encouraged, as if Paige hadn't painted her up, beautified her hair, squeezed her into a low-cut top, made some cryptic comments about finding someone she likes, and dragged her out to the party with the sole intent of shoving her in front of pretty people. At least she picked a nice one, who then had to go and ruin it by knowing too much. Not enough to actually be right about Dorley, but enough to get them investigated. Looking for his friend. Not even. Looking for the person who might as well have been his older brother. Did Stefan pick Saints as his university solely to investigate a disappearance? Shit, this is looking more and more like a colossal fuck-up. Her colossal fuck-up. She should have just dismissed his theories and sent him home, but no, she had to go and drag him into the belly of the beast, via Pippa of all people. He's lying on his cot with his knees under his chin and his arms curled around his legs, fetal. Christine scrubs back through the footage. I know about you, Stephen Riley, Pippa's saying. Christine zooms in, but the camera angle makes it difficult to get a read on her expression. Her voice is doing that two-level thing she does sometimes when she's angry and she can barely hold it in. Christine remembers it well for when she moved up to second year of the program and Pippa, then in her third year, still argued with Aunt B. Most of Christine's memories of Pippa, now she comes to think about it, come from her arguing with Aunt B. I know why you're here. Do you? This is a school of psychology thing, isn't it? Stefan says. A study on isolation or something. Yes, that's good, Christine mutters. Play dumb. Pippa laughs. Stupid boy. Do you know what toxic masculinity is? Oh no, she's doing the whole spiel now. She's supposed to psych him out. He's supposed to stew for a few days before she starts on him. Is she that eager to berate some poor guy? I'm an idiot, Christine says. God, and I'm repeating myself too. Pippa hated the program. From what Christine heard from the sisters in the year above her, Pippa fought the hardest, spent the longest time in isolation, had to be warned and restrained over and over again, and only someone very stupid would think her experiences, even now that she's come to terms with them, has accepted them as necessary as part of her rehabilitation, he would leave her for this with the slightest bit of compassion for a boy in the position she'd once been in, for a boy that reminds her of the person she's grown beyond. It's her sin in human form. She's going to hate him. What have I done? Christine whispers to herself, watching the scene play out on the laptop screen. What have I